Denis Shapovalov, rise and fall of the Canadian tennis prodigy. Imagine standing on the brink of greatness, with the world watching and expecting nothing less than brilliance. This was Denis Shapovalov, a young tennis prodigy who burst onto the scene with a style as audacious as his ambition. From his fearless victory over Rafael Nadal to his struggles in recent years, Shapovalov's journey is a tale of soaring highs and perplexing lows. What happened to the player who once seemed destined to dominate the world of tennis? Let's dive into the rise and fall of Denis Shapovalov. When he first started playing, Shapovalov was very sure of himself. His opponents had a hard time beating him because he served from the left but kicked hard. In addition, he was lucky to have a teacher named Martin Loreno who knew a lot about the game. But all of a sudden, about a year ago, things seemed to go in a different direction than planned. What took place with Denis Shapovalov? Let's look into it. Tennis is in Denis Shapovalov's family tree. Tessa Shapovalova, Denis's mother, played tennis for the Soviet national team, and then became a teacher in Tel Aviv after moving there from the Soviet Union, where she lived with Denis's father, Viktor Shapovalov. Before Denis was 1 year old, his family moved to Vaughan, Ontario, outside of Toronto. Denis became interested in tennis as soon as he picked up a ball when he was 5 years old. Denis's tennis journey began at the Richmond Hill Country Club, where his mother got a job as a guide 2 weeks after moving to Toronto from Tel Aviv. Denis's mother quit her job to start Tessa Tennis, a tennis school in Vaughan, because it was hard to get him enough court time at the Richmond Hill Club. In addition to giving Denis a place to learn, this also let his mother teach other kids how to play tennis. As Denis became more committed to tennis, his mother couldn't handle all of his training by herself. Denis's family made a big mistake when they hired Adriano Furivia as his teacher when he was only 13. Furivia used to be the superintendent of tennis development for Tennis Canada. Adriano went on a trip with Denis while his folks took care of the school in their hometown. During their 4-year partnership, Denis won many junior and ITF future events, such as the US Open Junior Doubles in 2015 and the Wimbledon Junior Singles in 2016. A star is born. At the beginning of 2017, Denis Shapovalov was a junior player who wasn't very well known. He competed for titles in remote areas on the lower-level futures and challenger circuits. Still, he got a ticket into the Rogers Cup in Montreal in August of that year, even though he was only 18 years old and ranked 143rd in the world. This was a big turning point in his career. It changed everything for Shapovalov in this event. As he made it through the first and second rounds, Shapovalov wowed the Canadian crowd with his amazing performance. His biggest test came in the third round, when Rafael Nadal, who was trying to get back to the top of the world rankings, played him. Shapovalov stayed at Felix Auger-Aliassime's family home during the event. Auger-Aliassime is a close friend and fellow Canadian tennis player. Both people had looked up to players like Nadal when they were kids, as opposed to going into the match with the simple goal of avoiding Nadal's overwhelming power. Shapovalov had a different outlook. Shapovalov was so upset the morning of his match against Nadal that he took down a picture of Nadal from Auger-Aliassime's basement. He knew how serious the situation was. He played bravely, taking risky shots and going for wins every chance he got, inspired by the crowd's cheers. In a surprising turn of events, Shapovalov beat Nadal. People became aware of Denis's amazing fight, which made him known as a confident and fearless player. People were blown away by his amazing deeds, which made it clear that he was ready to face the world. A glimpse of glory. We know that you don't want to miss out on any more exclusive stuff like this. Because of this, we want you to stay up to date on the latest tennis news, so please like our video and subscribe. People in the tennis world took notice of Shapovalov's achievements. By the end of the year, he had been named the ATP Star of Tomorrow. Many awards were given to him in his home country, which brought tennis to an area that hadn't been known for it before. At the start of the 2020s, Denis Shapovalov was becoming a growing tennis star. The high point of his career was making it to the semifinals of Wimbledon in 2021. It was one of his most memorable moments. Andy Murray, Roberto Bautista Agut, and other well-known players lost in this event. Shapovalov's exciting 5-set win over Karen Khachanov was a big moment in that run because it showed how he could handle pressure and come out on top. Despite that, he lost his semi-final match against Novak Djokovic. Shapovalov kept up his good form at the 2022 Australian Open, where he beat Alexander Zverev to make it to the semifinals. Even though he tried very hard, Rafael Nadal beat him in the end and became the winner. The downward spiral. But why did Shapovalov, with all of his talent and early success, start to falter? The story of his decline is as fascinating as his meteoric rise. Shapovalov had a hard time leaving a lasting impact at Grand Slam events, even though he played very well. A lot of people thought Shapovalov would become the next big thing in men's tennis. Despite this, he had trouble meeting those original expectations as time went on. Unfortunately, Shapovalov doesn't seem to be able to match the great play that helped him beat Nadal in 2017. This is clear from his last few years. His style of play is a big reason why he hasn't been able to regularly do well in major tournaments, even though he has had some brilliant moments. In his performance, Shapovalov shows style and takes risks, which is what makes him bold. His quick, energetic moves on the court and strong one-handed backhand with his left hand make me think of Rafael Nadal when he was younger. At the same time, the way he attacks while moving easily around the court shows how much he admires Federer, who is his favorite player. The complexities of style. Shapovalov's recent drop in form seems to be linked to the way he plays tennis, which is not the norm. Setting big goals isn't as important to him as taking a steady, smart approach. Even though he enjoys doing exciting moves, he doesn't seem to be very interested in playing precise and organized points, which are necessary to win games. The risky moves that made him successful in the past are now making his problems worse. Even though his serve is usually very good, he sometimes makes more mistakes with double faults because he likes to go for risky plays. The odds of winning at Wimbledon in 2021 were much better for Shapovalov than for his opponents in the quarterfinals. It's important to remember, though, that he also made the most mistakes. This shows that taking big chances, like he did, can lead to more mistakes and problems. The struggle for consistency. Shapovalov has only won one crown, even though he has made it to 6 finals, and often has problems at crucial times. When things get tough, Shapovalov finds it hard to score points and win tie breaks. He has a 50-50 record in choosing sets and matches, as shown by the fact that he lost to Pablo Carreno Busta in the last 4 of the 2020 US Open. Additionally, Shapovalov seems to face more and more problems as the match goes on, which has been a constant pattern throughout his career. His performance usually starts well in a match, but he then runs into a lot of problems. It looks like Shapovalov's plan is simple: keep the ball inside the lines. For whatever reason, this has been a big problem for him. His shot tolerance is very low, even though he has all the skills he needs to be successful. A lot of the time, he hits shanks, mishits, and shots that go off the court. People say that his style is like a sprayer, which means that he is not very precise. The issues go beyond mental ones, and include physical ones like a bad backhand return, a serve toss that isn't consistent, and a slice that needs work, all of which have led to a lot of double faults. Road ahead. Shapovalov needs to take care of these issues right now. To stay competitive, he needs to make quick changes when new, bright young players join the team. The talented Shapovalov is very good, and it would be a shame if he fell behind. That's why Tennis Canada should step in and help him, for the sake of himself, the sport of tennis, and Canada as a whole. People think that Shapovalov can fix these problems and cut down on his careless mistakes, even though he has to deal with some problems. He seems to have full control over the result of the match at times, so everyone thinks he will be able to run it. He feels both hopeful and worried about his future. It is impossible to win Grand Slams and other important titles without also being able to keep hurting yourself. His journey is uncertain, which makes you wonder if he will be able to get past these problems or have to deal with them for the next 10 years. What do you think about Denis Shapovalov? Please let us know in the space below for comments. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this video so you can see more.